thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, Bahamasair trimming the fat today, firing the airline pilot behind those shocking voice notes that revealed negligence and carelessness in the cockpit. This is the second incident involving Bahamasair in recent time. Do you remember the fight involving those two pilots in Marsh Harbor, Abaco? That was just a few weeks ago. The big question tonight, what in the world is happening at Bahamasair? Also tonight, VAT dropped from 10 to 5% on September 1st. We hear your unfiltered thoughts coming up. Also tonight, Grand Bahamians asking for an update on any of the numerous projects in the pipeline. We talk about that as well tonight. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Bahamasair officials moving swiftly to address a matter that made headlines nationally and internationally, putting the national flag carrier's brand and reputation on the line. Devontae Hanna has been following this story since it broke last week. He has the latest tonight.
The captain involved has since been relieved of his duties, and he is no longer employed with the airline.
Bahamasair are bringing to an end turbulent times caused by a pilot employed by the airline for 12 years after two incidents reported last week. The first, a cockpit dispute on a flight to Marsh Harbor, Abaco, with continuation to West Palm Beach. The ATR turboprop departed from Nassau.
However, upon arrival in Marsh Harbor, the first officer advised the airline's Operation Control Center of a concern regarding cockpit dynamics and recommended, in the interest of professional standards, that the flight not proceed until the matter was reviewed.
That prompted Bahamasair officials to bring the pilot, who identified himself as J-Roll Pilot 3479, in for questioning, strongly advising him to correct his behavior.
He was, at that time, advised and told what needed to be done, he needed to do to change his ways. And rather than take our advisement to him, he responded in the way that he did.
Just a week later, he recorded himself sounding off on his fellow pilots. He says he was accused of vaping and running a slack operation. He later accused them of using cell phones and moving in the cockpit without his approval.
You would notice in his voicemail he was also indicating that he allowed that to happen. It is a matter that we were addressing with him, that he shouldn't allow those things to happen.
For passengers, trust in your airline is everything. And with this latest string of controversy, Bahamasair finds itself not only managing its airlines, but its reputation.
Bahamasair has been around for a while, and we would hope that the traveling public would simply look at the record that has been there. And in this instance, again, we're reinforcing that that individual is actually brought in and spoken to because he was not the norm at Bahamasair.
Cooper maintained that Bahamasair has a zero-tolerance policy for intimidation and unprofessional conduct, adding that adjustments have been made to fill in the void of the relieved pilot. Devontae Hanna, Eyewitness News.
And so there you have that. So apparently I'm getting two things sort of, but you all know what happened, right? So apparently this pilot, or more than one of them, were having issues for a while. Because remember the fight that took place in Abaco, and then we hear these voice notes. So as we are learning now, this pilot intentionally leaked those voice notes because of that incident, and where he obviously was called in for some sort of reprimand. The question tonight is this. Bahamasair has gained the reputation, and rightfully so, for being one of the safest airlines, not always on time, but one of the safest, most trusting or trustworthy airlines, with its pilots in particular being above board anywhere in the world among any pilots. The thing is, and I know on this show we talk about giving young people a chance, and I don't know, this person is a 12-year veteran, but I don't know his age. I'm just saying, when in the Bahamas we have to earn our way and pride and prize professionalism and hard work and dedication and commitment, we cannot toss those things out the window, particularly when you're in the air. When you're in the air, such a vulnerable space to be in, and depending on those people in that cockpit. It is quite daunting and it is quite upsetting. It is worrisome of what has transpired and took place. Of course, we heard the voice notes. We saw that pilot has been fired, but what else is happening at Bahamasair? We're going to bring in right now the Hot Topics panelists, Beyond the Headlines contributors, Leslie Miller and Garth Rosborough. Gentlemen, good evening to both of you. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you both here.
Good night, everyone.
Good evening.
Listen, gentlemen, I want to ask you all to weigh in. We see Bahamasair stepped up and I guess they had to do it because this story has gone viral everywhere for concern. It isn't just something to laugh at. I mean, there's no laughing matter. Your thoughts on just what took place, the slackness that was happening and perhaps still is in some instances, because people say, listen, is this why there are so many delays? I mean, we hear Bahamasair now is shortage on aircraft. But other than that, is this why there are so many delays, or the service and we just can't seem to get things ever on the right path for Bahamasair? When we hear stuff like this, people are saying, things that make you go,
Shanique Miller, what an interesting story tonight, and thank you for having me once again. I actually travel in the morning. I normally travel on our fly carrier, Bahamasair, because like you said, I do trust my national carrier. I may be late sometime, but it always gets me there with the feeling that I'm thankful. Tomorrow morning, I'm flying on another airline. I'm not mentioning their name, but I have to make a connecting flight. And I don't know what's going on in these cockpits. I don't know what the disputes are. I don't know what the corporation of Bahamasair is saying. But, you know, I've been familiar with having been stranded in the airport overnight with Bahamasair. I do not want to get involved in a delay tomorrow. But it is concerning, Shanique Miller. I don't think there's a real safety concern. It seems as if the administration is dealing with the matter as they should. A firing has taken place, so that should also give us some confidence that they are doing their due diligence. But I also feel that this is a great example of Bahamian corporations and entities, government situations, putting their foot down and keeping the standard to where it should be.
Well, so, you were saying there isn't cause for concern. You remember the guy said in the voice note, he's no longer going to allow this and that, meaning it was slackness all around.
Yes.
You do this, man, while I vape. You do this. You could go on TikTok and shoot your little TikTok video to show that you're a pilot in the skies. While I vape and smoke and do whatever else we do in the cockpit. And so it can tell you that the entire operation needs a cleanup.
Yeah, that is true, but I've never been given that feeling of fear with Bahamasair. I didn't even know these things actually took place. Now that we're hearing it, you might be concerned, but that's for me, the type experience that I've always had with Bahamasair was always a great takeoff, a great flight, a great landing.
We all have. I don't quite understand if you're on the same show or listening to what I've said.
I'm on the same show with you, Shanique Miller.
We all trust Bahamasair. That is what I started with saying.
I'm saying I still do.
We trust, exactly. But when you hear of these little things that go on, that is the thing that make you say, wait a minute, don't just fire that one, go and inspect the others. Leslie, your thoughts?
You know, it's unfortunate what has taken place over the last few weeks with regard to Bahamas. I have the greatest respect for Bahamasair pilots, especially some of those who have retired over the years. They were as good as any pilot in the world. We had no incidents of death or crash. I think it's a situation where some just went awry and brought down the standards that the older pilots implemented and adhered to. People need to appreciate that the pilot is really the most important person on the plane, and the co-pilot.
That's correct.
And for those things that happen in the cockpit that they claim happened, they had to do the right thing.
Yes.
I agree that maybe others that needs to go, we're not aware of it ourselves. So I'm not going to speak on something that we're not aware of.
That's correct.
But I would say that I feel comfortable in flying my national airline. The only airline I ever used in all of my life was Bahamasair. From the time we incorporated it back, I think it was 1982, I believe, we incorporated Bahamasair. We traveled Bahamasair. And the record is second to none. And those bad apples that are in there need to be weeded out
Yes.
To put pride and sensibility back into it because we serve the larger world, really, with the tourism sector that we have. So I trust that what has happened was unfair. It's unfortunate that those things happen, and I hope that the way forward is a better way for all of us involved, especially the flying public.
Absolutely. Mainly us. I mean, we're the ones who the Bahamas are in the business of flying, and we fly them. And so certainly, of course, managing director, look into what the pilot said, and don't know if he was being mischievous or not, but he said, listen, what you all ain't gonna do no more in my cockpit is this. So see if it's happening. This is what we're trying to say. Because whenever we fly, we want to know that the pilots are paying attention to every instrument and to the skies ahead of them. It's as simple as that. Leave the phones alone. Meanwhile, you all, Acting Prime Minister Chester Cooper is lauding the government's reductions to value-added tax on a range of essential items. He says that it will give consumers breathing room when they hit the grocery stores. Well, that's very important. That list of newly reduced VAT items include medicine, medical supplies, feminine hygiene products, and baby and adult diapers. This, as the reduction took effect about a week ago, September 1st, after it was announced by Prime Minister Davis during his budget communication in May. Now, members of the Free National Movement have downplayed the reduction, noting that, quite frankly, there were no taxes on a number of items in the first place. Cooper, however, is shrugging the opposition's criticisms.
Ask the consumers if they appreciate that there have been cuts. And I think there will be a resounding yes. Paying less is more than paying more. And I think that's the reality of where we are. Let me just tell you that the issue of cost of living is something that the government is concerned about. We are putting in place strategies. This has just been one of those strategies. We are improving our work in consumer protection. We are also improving our work as it relates to building trade alliances and encouraging shipping from other countries in addition to the traditional source markets. So we are confident that we are putting in steady work. In addition, we are looking to see how we can manifest much of the reforms in electricity to ensure that the Bahamian people begin to feel the results of the work. We are confident that collectively, when we put all of these pieces together, we will be able to successfully impact cost of living for the people, for the Bahamian people.
Well, as the Davis administration is taking another step to ease the burden, you heard the Deputy Prime Minister and Acting Prime Minister Chester Cooper there a moment ago, off the backs of Bahamians. The opposition says it's a move out of their playbook. Laurencia Smith has reaction tonight, and then we come back and talk about it.
For the second time this year, government has reduced value-added tax. As of September 1st, VAT dropped to 5% on baby and adult diapers, feminine hygiene products, medication, medical and dental supplies. Government say the move is meant to provide relief for residents struggling with the rising cost. But with the general election less than a year away, some believe it may be politically motivated.
I mean, these things we need, and being like they don't know we need these things, so could be, but stuff that we need, that's what they should be doing.
The reduction was first introduced by Prime Minister Philip Davis during his budget communication in May. Earlier in April, government also cut VAT on food items, including fresh produce, baby food, snacks, and frozen food. Another resident told Eyewitness News that the move shows that the administration is finally listening to the cries of the Bahamian household.
I think they're hearing the cries of the people. I don't think it's a political ploy. I think it's the cries of the people. Things are really tough out here, so I think that could ease some of the burden.
When the Davis administration took office, it lowered the general VAT rate from 12 to 10%, but also raised VAT on some items, including medication, from 0 to 10%. Now, the Bahamas Pharmaceutical Association is renewing its call for VAT on medication to be completely removed, even as it welcomes this latest cut.
These are essential items. People aren't buying those at a convenience. They're buying it because they have to. And so when VAT was first instituted, there was no VAT on medicines. And for some reason, somebody thought it was smart to put VAT on medicines. We opposed it then. We continue to oppose it now.
Under the Minnis administration, breadbasket items were VAT-free. Opposition leader Michael Pintard says while he's glad the government has taken his party advice, more still needs to be done.
Gone far enough. We want them to say, essentially, that they will take VAT of all breadbasket items. They will expand the group of products that will be included in the breadbasket bundle.
Laurencia Smith, Eyewitness News.
Well, you heard exactly how the people are feeling. Many are applauding and saying, listen, excellent, wonderful idea. The government listened to us and bringing the ease that Bahamians need. Others, including the opposition, say, wait a minute though, but these items had no VAT to begin with. What's the celebration about?
For Christ's sake.
Go ahead, Leslie. Yes, I'm agreeing with you.
No, I mean, I don't understand. You know, the government don't just arbitrarily take VAT off items that had no VAT on it. I mean, let's get sensible here now, okay? It was the F&M government that had the 10%, the 12% VAT on the backs of Bahamian people. Why did they do that? That was political? I wouldn't think so. They just decided to do it for whatever reason. Now you put it down, you bring it down now, and it's a political ploy. It's just nonsensical. These guys need to get on board and come with things that's going to change the aspect of how people think about governance and how the Bahamian people are hurting financially with going to the food. So I go there every single week. Most of you guys even go to the damn food store. That's why you don't know what's going on. People appreciate any decrease in the cost of living to take the burden off their backs. Get used to it, man, and try to do for the people instead of talking. You were there and you didn't do it. And now you're complaining that it's being done.
Well, so what is to their argument that, listen, there are some of these items that did not have VAT on them to begin
with? What
with?
items? See, they didn't name one. Did they name any of the items? None?
Well,
to my knowledge.
I don't have a problem with anything being political at this time, Leslie Miller. We know that we are in the political season. If the governing party wants to reduce VAT for political ploy, this is the season for it. As for the Free National Movement, we're watching you. Your back-to-school programs, maybe you should have done something about giving the children something for school. You got 24 candidates now. Give us a progress report on what you've done for your community. I think this is time to stop complaining.
Yes.
Start going to work yourself. I told you on the 4th year, the PLP is going to come strong on you. They're now becoming stronger. You got to stop complaining, F&M. You got to go to work.
What about the back-to-school programs?
Well, I wasn't impressed with many of them.
Let's talk about it after the break.
Well, we can.
When we come back, we're going to just dip into that because every member of parliament made a huge deal about these back-to-school programs to prove a point, of course, to do what they normally do each year, but also to prove a point. Who proved it and who fizzled? Beyond the Headlines is back right after this.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
You work hard to provide for and protect the ones you love. However, life can present unexpected challenges. Who you call in times of need matters. Insurance Management is a Bahamian-owned company that has been serving our community for over 40 years, offering a wide range of coverage for all of your personal, professional, and commercial needs. When life happens, rest easy knowing that our skilled and experienced agents are there for you in your time of need, so that you can get back to what matters most. Insurance Management. Nobody does it better.
Crack the code and win $1 million. Crack the code and win $1 million.
7 numbers, $1 million. Every 3 days, a number is revealed. Act fast. Your million is waiting. crack the code before the last lock clicks shut. Get ready to join the winner's circle only at islandluck.com.
Crack the code and win $1 million.
This year marks a milestone. The OWN Foundation is celebrating 10 years of impact, innovation, and inspiration. Join us for OWN Talks, September 12th at the Atlantis Resort, Paradise Island at 7 p.m. for a transformative experience under the theme, Activate. Taking the stage are world-renowned leaders and visionaries. Sebastian Bastian, visionary entrepreneur, philanthropist, and CEO of Island Luck and Wise Technology Group. Barbara Corcoran, legendary real estate mogul, entrepreneur, investor, and star of Shark Tank. Vusi Tembekwayo, global business strategist, venture capitalist, and one of Africa's most influential thought leaders. Be part of this unforgettable evening as the OWN Foundation celebrates a decade of purpose and progress. And together, we activate the future.
Beyond the Headlines is now introducing powerful TV advertising opportunities made just for you. Choose our television ad package, 20 30-second ads for $2,000 or 20 60-second ads for $2,500 plus VAT. Prefer flexibility? Go a la carte. Just $150 for a 30-second ad or $200 for a 60-second ad. Step into the spotlight with our interview package. 1 15-minute interview for $500 or 4 for $15 per month. Or bring Beyond the Headlines directly to you with our live on location package, only $2,600 plus VAT. For more information, contact our sales agent at 242-466-6173.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's great to have you tuned in this evening. Just before the break, we talked about and mentioned really the back to school, some of them call it fairs, some of them call it back to school events. The candidates in this season in particular, this year, did a number of things through those events. They were feeling out their constituencies. They were feeling out the response for those who were trying to court constituencies. And so, Garth, as you jumped in and said, who actually had a home run in those many back-to-school events, and who fluttered in the wind?
I saw many of fluttering, and I'll say why, Shanique, but it baffled me how the Free National Movement selected candidates the week before back to school. Literally, school was opening that Monday.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me you're going to select candidates on the Thursday. When you select them on the Thursday, Shanique Miller, you already dropped the ball because that Saturday is back to school Saturday.
Yep.
So those people you just selected, that's 7. Is it 7 that you just selected? Yeah, 7. What did they do on Saturday? So now you started off with a failure because you were not there for the constituency that you just said, you know what, I'm going to be the candidate for. You had no time to prepare for that. They actually threw you in the wind. If I was to select a candidate...
But it's the back-to-school events, the annual back-to-school events, are they that important?
They're extremely important because now you can never say to me in this upcoming election that you care so much about the young people and the future of this nation and you didn't provide anything for back to school. Yeah. You are the candidate on that Thursday. Yep. So show me your love on Saturday. I know it's a short time, but don't blame me. You got to blame your party. Your party should have selected you after back to school. At least you're going to say, you know what? I wasn't selected as yet. But the minute you were selected on the Thursday, you're responsible for back to school on Saturday. And guess what Garth is going to tell you? You weren't prepared for that. And if you weren't prepared for that, are you really truly prepared to be a member of parliament? Because life isn't all about time to prepare. Life is what you do at the last second when you have to, when you're under pressure. Exactly. And so far, we've not seen a party that's prepared for any pressure whatsoever. I don't like it, but maybe, you know what? I need to stay out of your business because you know what you're possibly doing. Maybe you just simply want to lose.
I couldn't agree with you more. Well, you know, there were many great back-to-school events that took place last week. The one I remember most vividly, my good buddy there in Stapleton Gardens, Michael Bonnaby.
There was a number of them.
Did a wonderful, wonderful job. And my other good friend, the honourable member for Elizabeth, as always, came through in flying colours for her constituents. And
there were several
Keith
others.
Bell,
Yeah, there were several others.
Pia Glover, you know, Glennis Hannah Martin had a good one.
What about the opposition?
Joe Bett Colby had a really wonderful one.
What about the opposition?
Yeah, you mentioned her.
Glennis Hannah Martin. I haven't seen anything.
What you mean?
From the opposition.
Okay.
Maybe Grand Bahama. Maybe in Grand Bahama.
Grand Bahama wasn't aware of it. I think I saw the leader look like he had something. He was giving out.
And how did that look? I'm not the host, but I got to ask because I'm curious.
Well, I don't know how it looked because I can't pay much attention to me when he's sitting the hell out of me for nothing, you know?
Listen, no, Leslie, that happened before then. Before you put your foot in your mouth.
Shanique, it's just that for me, the back to school this year, I've seen some things on some of those that just blew my mind, like rock climbing and water slides. I passed one actually in the Eastern District, and I thought the carnival was here for Christmas. Yeah. And so I said, you know, when you ask the question, is back to school a big deal? Absolutely. When you talk about the cost of living and how Bahamian people have to now struggle to survive, when they can get those gifts from the member of parliament or the aspiring, listen, man, that is so much of a help.
Yeah, that was different.
And I just want to congratulate those who continue to keep the children out front. And for those of you who are aspiring or those who would just name this candidate, I'll say this to you now. If you drop the ball for back to school, for heaven's sake, let me give you 2 words. Turkey and ham. You better find it.
Bahamians aren't interested in that anymore.
Oh, they're not interested. When you didn't give us nothing for back to school, you better bring the turkey and the ham.
Bahamians are not falling for that ham and turkey bit anymore.
You don't have to fall, but we need it.
But listen, I want to get to this.
Go ahead.
I asked about Grand Bahama in terms of their back to school, but I'll tell you this, it's more serious and getting serious now. 6 years after Hurricane Dorian tore through Grand Bahama, the people of Grand Bahama are still waiting for investment, waiting for infrastructure, waiting for promises from the government, promises, Port Authority promises, investor promises, to finally move from paper to reality. And so tonight, I ask on behalf of Warren Albury, the owner of Lux Deli in the Port Lucaya Marketplace, for example, who had to shut his restaurant down at 3 o'clock today because there's no business in that area. How much longer must Grand Bahamians wait? Let's start with the Grand Bahama International Airport.
Yes.
This is not a luxury. We talk about Bahamasair and all the rest of that. This is the lifeline, the Grand Bahama International Airport of Grand Bahama. We've seen the glossy renderings, we've seen the press conferences and big announcements, but where is the airport? Where is the progress? How can Freeport pretend to be a hub of tourism and commerce when travelers can't even arrive with the ease and dignity expected in a 21st century? And then what if the Grand Bahama Port Authority, for decades, the Grand Bahama Port Authority has held the keys to the city's growth, yet the ongoing disputes between the Hayward and the St. George families have turned Freeport's future into a tug of war. Freeport is not a family heirloom. It's a home to tens of thousands of Bahamians who deserve leadership and not leadership in limbo. Who exactly is steering the ship? Let's not forget the Xanadu Hotel, once a jewel of the international glamour. Today, that's a hollow shell. We hear it's been sold to Royal Caribbean, yet whispers of delays raise doubts for Grand Bahamians who are already nervous that so many projects are not moving forward, including that Xanadu. So is this deal real, or is it already stalling before it begins? And now comes to Freeport Harbor. Let's get to that.
Yes.
Who is responsible for the hold up there? Is it MSC Cruises? Is it Royal Caribbean? Is it Port Authority? Is it Carnival? No shovels have been in the ground. Nothing at all has happened. Just talk. There's been dragging on, and this has been dragging on far too long, and potential does not put food or money in pockets or on tables. Grand Bahamians are asking, will this deal deliver real jobs, real contracts for Bahamian businesses, or will it be another glossy press release that leads nowhere? I'm told there's been serious foot dragging and that this delay ripples out, holding back the airport, the Grand Lucayan, the Xanadu, and every other project tied to Freeport's future. The truth is this: the people of Grand Bahama have borne more hardship than any other island in this archipelago over the past 6 years. Their resilience is unmatched, but resilience is not permission for endless neglect. Every day without progress deepens the wounds. And so tonight, let's ask the questions directly, Leslie and Garth. When will the airport be rebuilt? When will the Port Authority end its stagnancy and put the island first? And that's the question right there, The Port Authority, through the Grand Bahama Development Company, appeared on this show a number of times with, they have amazing projects in the pipeline. Where's this pipeline? And where are these projects? When will the Xanadu and the Lucayan see real redevelopment? And when will the MSC port deal move from paper to paychecks? Grand Bahama cannot wait another year. They cannot. The people deserve better. The time for polite patience is over. It is past time for accountability, for urgency, and for action. Because the people of Grand Bahama, Leslie and Garth, deserve more.
Yes.
And they need that now. And so, gentlemen, you heard me, I spent time with that because for weeks people have been reaching out and talking and saying this and saying, listen, while the Carnival Celebration Key is amazing and it's a wonderful assistance for Grand Bahama and it has its place, but it's touching maybe a quarter of the island in terms of that reverberation and that mushrooming in the economy that takes place when there's good, healthy, robust activity happening. And so the people have legitimate questions tonight and they deserve honest answers.
Yeah, this is very painful tonight. You know that I have not been a fan of the last election upon winning, where so many exorbitant trips were taking place around the world, people going to Bermuda, going to Dubai, going to Africa, and all over the world. For me, it seemed like the first 3 years, a lot of time was a wasting. And while it was a wasting, these very same people in Grand Bahama, Shanique Miller, you paid very careful attention to. We've never taken our eyes off of Grand Bahama. And at one point, we became extremely excited to even hear. I remember one evening, even after the show, you said, Garth, man, I can't believe this is actually happening for Grand Bahama. You were ecstatic. You're like, maybe we need to just go ahead and pay to go on a flight and go over there ourselves to see it for ourselves. Mm-hmm. So with this great anticipation, it was just simply hair-raising. Yeah. And we watched all the excitement. The people from Grand Bahama were calling you at night. Shanique said, God, these people are calling me. Yeah. They were calling me up until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. It's really happening. Yeah. We heard from one Mr. McKinsey from Grand Bahama. He spoke to the owners. And this thing is about to happen. The airport and the harbor and everything is about to take off. Yes. And then it just went silent.
And then it just stopped.
It went silent. And so for you to bring this to the forefront now, Shanique Miller, I think your question is very, very important. I do hope that the government is listening. I hope the royal opposition is listening. I hope anyone interested in politics is listening. And I think what you're really saying in a nutshell is that while we are waiting the answer, which I think is somewhat yet a mystery, I think the people of Grand Bahama do deserve better. And Shanique Miller, I thank you for bringing this to our attention, because even I myself became a bit comfortable after the summer saying, you know what, I even almost forgot the state of the people in Grand Bahama, so I do apologize to them tonight. But Shanique Miller, you're the heroine tonight. Thank you so much for reminding us.
Absolutely, Garth, because Leslie, the Grand Bahama shipyard and that port deal, it's just so much that's happening, but everything seemed to just be stagnant right now.
Grand Bahama has caught so much hell over the last 20 years. We used to work very closely with the former chairman of the Grand Bahama Port Authority. On his passing, God bless him, has brought the Port Authority to its knees. The government has a major responsibility in line with the Grand Bahama Port Authority to get Freeport back, to put the magic back in our magic city. Bahamians all over the country have been so proud of our brothers and sisters in Freeport. And over the last 60 years, the job that they did in creating this second city called Freeport. And they had top jobs in all the conglomerates that develop in Freeport. When you look at the pharmaceutical industry in Grand Bahama, was second to none. The only competition they had was Puerto Rico. And I'm talking about multi-billion-dollar conglomerates that went to Freeport. Now,
Grand Bahama was the
key to it now. MSC is a world-renowned conglomerate, a multi-billion-dollar entity that pretty much ruled the waves around the world. They must now step to the plate, along with the Port Authority, get it right, get the port open, expand the harbor, and the government responsibility is to start construction on the airport. How do you expect people to come to Grand Bahama if you have no airport. It's not fair to the
But
people of Grand
Leslie,
Bahama.
where do you suppose the stalling or the hold up or the dragging of feet, where is that exactly? Where can you actually
Honorable
point
Prime
to?
Minister had indicated, you remember, some time back, that they were being financed by Saudi Arabia. I think his last comment is that the loan was taking some time, but he had it under wraps. And we expect soon, any minute, that he would be delivering an additional view as to where this is going to take place. But in the meantime, our brothers and sisters are hurting, man. I mean, Freeport is a wonderful place.
You heard me call the man's name. He had to shut his restaurant today.
Freeport is a city that was built for industry as well as tourism. There's so much potential for what they have, all the infrastructure that is needed. The closest island to the eastern seaboard of the United States was Grand Bahama. It's still there. I just think the parties have to now work together, close-knit. They are now, I understand, this week going into arbitration with the group out of London, with all the high-powered lawyers. And hopefully, at the end of the day...
This is the Grand Bahama Port Authority.
And the government.
Absolutely. And this is to do with the $300+ million outstanding VAT that's owed.
That project could be complete, that argument or whatever it is.
So you know what it is? It's playing hardball, because of course they have said they don't owe that money. And so therefore they're not in the mood of approving anything until they figure they could get that wiped or substantially lessened. But meanwhile though, Grand Bahama Port Authority, whomever else it is that we must point fingers at, nothing is happening in Grand Bahama.
Well, I really think that we should thank the Right Honourable Prime Minister, Mr. Davis, for the job that he's been doing in, first of all, confronting the Port Authority and trying to force things to move in Grand Bahama. He lived there for about 15 years, you know. Mr. Davis did. So he pretty much grew up in Freeport in his infancy stage as a lawyer. He was practicing in Grand Bahama, so he's well equipped to know what goes on in Grand Bahama. It's just a pity that the wheels aren't spinning fast enough to enable us to put things in place, the proper things. And again, MSC is going to play a vital role in the redevelopment, the future development of Grand Bahama. MSC, you must step to the plate now.
Yes.
Along with the Grand Bahama Port Authority now and get it done.
Yeah, I understand that the
So
negotiations
that other cruise lines
are
could
going
come there and dock at the expansion of the new dock that you're proposing to put in. You have the money.
Negotiations are going on with MSC, but somehow something is stalling. Something is a stick in the mud. You guys,
whatever it is, get it out of the way.
Get it together.
Get it
together.
Here's the political football, Shanique Miller and Leslie Miller. You now know that there is a stall. You know that you're waiting for funding or whatever the case may be. That is simply indicating to me that no one is going to call the election day anytime soon until that ship comes in.
Yeah.
And the people of Grand Bahama has already sent words of threat. I was there when they were speaking to Shanique Miller, and they said, if you don't get this sorted, you think we playing with you all this time, y'all gonna tickle us and then laugh.
You get wiped out again.
You're gonna get wiped out in Grand Bahama. So, you know, Shanique Miller, I implore you to stay on top of this particular story.
I will stay on top
And once
of it.
again, I appreciate you for this, because you know what? Even though they may not say it, the Bahamian people need to appreciate the fact that you want to be on the headlines, you care for the Bahamian people.
And the future of Grand Bahama is at stake.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I was the loudest cheerleader there saying, I'm happy to hear of these various announcements and what's in the pipeline and what's going on. But people tired of seeing the glossy images, the promises and the words. Start now. Come on, something tangible. Something, MSC, come on, something tangible. Get this done.
The press releases.
Okay? Something tangible. We all waiting to celebrate that with you. Absolutely. But Leslie, I'll tell you this. You will have your time to speak and say whatever you want to say after this break. Because you, Leslie Miller, you're in the hot seat.
What the hell are you coming after me for? What I did?
You are in the hot seat, Leslie Miller.
What?
We're going to take a break and come back with more of Beyond the Headlines right after this.
My late husband, Tyrone Albury, had a passion for brewing beer at home. We found one of his recipes and we started on the stovetop with 1 gallon of beer. It was a hobby that turned into a passion project that turned completely out of control. We had to make a decision whether or not we were going to continue home brewing or open a brewery. So craft beer is basically brewing a very small batch of beer. Every individual batch of beer is going to be slightly different.
We're always trying to figure out what the next best beer is going to be.
Just the sheer amount of love and effort that goes into every brew. It's a science, really, to selecting the right grains and the hops, and then expanding on some of the normals.
Really, in the last couple of years, we've had a lot more of the locals that have found our location.
They realize that there is a fuller flavor beer out there, and we take pride in that. When we first started the concept of the brewery and we were looking for funding, it was the SBDC that we leaned on to help me push through at times when I wanted to give up, to tell me when I was making mistakes, and for that, I am grateful. So I would encourage all entrepreneurs, if you're looking for funding, mentorship, and encouragement to launch your new business idea, I would encourage you to contact the SBDC.
Are you ready to take the next step in growing your business? Check your eligibility for our guaranteed loan program at sbdcbahamas.com/GLP or call 461-7232 to learn more about how the SBDC can support your business.
So you want a space, but not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
Beyond the Headlines is now introducing powerful TV advertising opportunities made just for you. Choose our television ad package, 20 30-second ads for $2,000 or 20 60-second ads for $2,500 plus VAT. Prefer flexibility? Go a la carte. Just $150 for a 30-second ad or $200 for a 60-second ad. Step into the spotlight with our interview package. 1 15-minute interview for $500 or 4 for $15 per month. Or bring Beyond the Headlines directly to you with our live on location package, only $2,600 plus VAT. For more information, contact our sales agent at 242-466-6173.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. And by the way, of course, you saw that ad just now. We are also in the campaign season, so we have campaign rates for you as well. Reach out to that very number that you saw on the screen, our sales and marketing department, and they will get you sorted out wherever you are. Beyond the Headlines will come. Let's have a wonderful show, discussion. Let's hear your party's platform, what your candidates plan on doing, what it is you plan on doing for this nation, and the various constituencies that you want to be member of parliament of. How about that? By the way, this just coming into the news. This just coming into the newsroom. There's been a fire at Comfort Suites, Paradise Island. The good news is it is not the blaze has been extinguished. It is believed that it's been an electrical fire because it originated in the electrical room in the basement level. Again, it's been successfully extinguished, and the great news is there are no reports of injuries happening there, and so we are very, very happy for that. An assessment of the damage is currently underway, and so once again a fire at the Comfort Suites, but again No significant damage, but everything is being assessed. Meanwhile, though, former PLP cabinet minister and Beyond the Headlines contributor Leslie Miller in the hot seat again tonight. This despite issuing an apology for referring to Senator Michaela Barnett Ellis as a little girl. This statement caused F&M Kalani candidate Senator Michaela Barnett Ellis to trend this weekend, and she took advantage of Miller's comments too, with several videos of her throughout the constituency this weekend released, one after the next. Miller's comments also fired up the F&M. F&M leader Michael Pintard joining in from Barnett Ellis, who had her own response, calling Miller's comments alarming, especially given his track record.
Who track record?
He's often irresponsible in a number of comments that he makes, and this is yet another, another statement that is most irresponsible and is disrespectful to women in general. He has a daughter that's doing a commendable job in the Parliament of the Bahamas, and again, it's disrespectful to all women who serve or seek to serve. You would have remembered some unfortunate remarks he made when he was a member of Parliament, again, relative to women, that was most distasteful then. And he has been a fierce defender of others who have been accused of similar action. So I don't have a great deal of expectation that he would speak in a responsible manner, and I trust that others would not follow his example.
You have it. F&M leader Michael Pintard says Leslie Miller is irresponsible, speaks irresponsibly, has a track record of doing so. Garth, the F&M jumped all over this. Senator Michael Barnett Ellis, the F&M's candidate in Kalani, jumped all over it this weekend. Your thoughts on how they took, and I'm not defending Miller, he's here to defend himself, and he already apologized. I don't need you to apologize again, Leslie. I know you want to respond. What I'm saying, you apologize for calling her a little girl in the context of it all. We understand in the Bahamian terms what he meant. Was he right? Well, they say he's misogynist and a misogynistic person and known to be that. Garth, your thoughts?
In me, I'm always trying to be as fair as possible. I always say to people that when you have a complaint, you have to check your own house first. Check your house if it's made of glass. You just cannot throw stones. We have heard comments coming from the Free National Movement against women as well. And so for you to speak this strongly against one particular...
hold on.
Well, I can talk about the voices from a Kalma guy who's an executive in their party. I can talk about another voice in the party who's from public relations.
The Kalma guy, I think he spoke about Bahamian women.
Yes.
That's when he was very angry, something along those lines.
Yeah, and then there's another radio personality who also spoke against our good friend Erica in a voice that circulated all throughout the country. If you want to be this petty and you go down this deep in pettiness, I just ask one question. What does that have to do with politics and governance? What does that have to do with your constituency? To me, it's a personal matter. I think it's very petty. If you got some public applause for you bringing this to the forefront, yippee. Ask me the question, though, and I want you to ask yourself the question. Just one question is very important to me beyond all of this. Miss Barnett, those of you who support Miss Barnett, the party that supports Miss Barnett, I want you to put your house mortgage on the line and tell me that you will guarantee that she's going to win the Kalani seat. And I will gamble with you tonight. I promise you that. This has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with the Bahamian people. You're trying to lean on the whole idea that, you know what? Oh, you're offending women. There's a whole lot of things you people do to offend a whole lot of people. You all just got a show host fired the other day. You think you really care?
Now, how you know that? Now, Garth, wait. Garth, how you know the F&M got Howard Grant fired?
I didn't say Howard Grant. I didn't say
but I said it. How do you know they did?
Well, I got my call. Whether it's true or not, I got my call. If the person feels that was the case, that's the case. I'm not getting in people's personal business. What I'm saying is that the Beyond the Headlines is interested in the nation and the nation's building. This is what we do when we sit here. Leslie Miller sits on this show to help build the nation. Whether you agree with his opinion or not, this is the reason why he's here. When it comes to a personal situation, you want to bring it to the forefront to discredit everything that he's saying? So let's look at your track record. Could we really believe Michael Pintard, the leader of the F&M, and say, you know what? I just love Michael Pintard. He's an upright man. He has done nothing wrong. You know about the case that you was involved in. You know about the accusations. You know these things. When we look at all of you, your deputy was involved in the situation. We're still awaiting to hear about that. We heard about one Lanisha Roll. I told y'all on Beyond the Headlines that we'll never hear about that case again. How many years was that ago? You people got to clean your own house first. Do not bring petty personal things into a conversation when it has to do with the national situation. I'm not appreciative of this. I think it's petty. Stop throwing these silly stones. Go and get a back-to-school program first or give us some ham and turkey. That's what I want you to do.
You know, I've already apologized to the young lady, so I'm not going to do it again. She's gotten a lot of publicity from what she claimed I made disparaging remarks about her. And I take the gravest exception to the leader of the opposition trying to smear my good name. I've been elected to Parliament 3 times, 15 years of my life. And I've given most of my life to the people of the Bahamas, and I'm proud of my record that I know can hold marches 7 days a week, every day of the week for the rest of his life. You know, it amazes me because they always look for straws to grab onto. Here was this man when he was in Parliament just a few months ago, degraded Glenys Hannah Martin in a most personal and vicious manner. Then he went after the Speaker, Patricia, nice lady. Call her hot dog lady. Call her hot dog lady. She's a nothing, nobody. Then he went after the Minister of Transport, Jobette Colby, and he run her in the ground. Then he went after the Honorable Minister Ginger Moxie in Grand Bahama. He run her in the ground. Not one single woman in the Free National Movement, not a single one, said one single thing. Leslie Miller has been there for 15 years. People know about my record. My record speaks for itself. I'd have to apologize for nothing I did in my public life. Nothing at all. I have never been involved in no murder for hire in my life.
Leslie,
I've never been associated with people of that magnitude in my life. I've never been asked to resign from any position in my life, including resigning from the Senate. I've never. And I take grave exception to him saying that that's what he's about. I'll put my record against yours, publicly and privately, any day of the week, man. Any day of the week. Both of us from the same island, okay? And have some family ties. But I don't want you to try to degrade what I am. As Minister of Trade and Industry, I brought in, my people and I, the Consumer Protection Bill. We brought in the Rent Control Bill. We brought in the Standards Bureau. When I was Minister of Agriculture, where you was one time, I cut the lobster intake by pleasure craft by 50% to protect all of the fishermen in this country. They can tell you about it. We had a study done by the United Nations that said that they took in more lobster and fish out of our waters than all the commercial fisheries combined. I cut it in half. And I was only there for about 16 months. What did you do when you were there? Nothing. Nothing. Okay? I provided assistance to all the poultry producers. Call Abaco, call anyone up in this country. I didn't allow any imports to come in from the United States as long as there were poultry in their freezers. Ask Rupert Roberts. They had to call me every week. Mr. Miller, what them fellas got left? I said, when they are empty, then I'll give you the permission to import. And they always thank me for that. My whole life has been with supporting Bahamian people. That's why we formed the Bahamas Light Industries Development Council in 1983 to sensitize Bahamians, to buy Bahamian, to grow the industry, to diversify our economy, to get young men and women to go into business. You all make everything so petty and slimy for no reason.
But Leslie,
for cheap political points.
Leslie, I'm not defending the leader or you. I'm just saying this is the season where you take the thing that is the size of a mustard seed and try and make that
for no reason
huge. But so Leslie, the thing is, I think you just, all of us must be very mindful of what it is that we. Yes, you did.
As Minister of Trade and Industry, I try to give the Bahamian people
Leslie,
LNG,
go talk about your
Petro Carib. You all were against it. And now today we are suffering from it. I did my job as far as I'm concerned.
So Leslie, so what are you saying is, listen, let's...
PLPOF and them.
No, you're saying, Leslie, let's take it from being petty
Yeah.
And let's take it from there and
Yes.
compare the records of,
Yes.
of you and
Yes,
him.
and him.
Or anybody else.
Anybody
I mean,
else.
after all, he did say you are known to be irresponsible
Yes.
in your utterings.
Tell me
you
when.
are your utterances.
But tell me my track record. You compare yours with mine.
Shanique,
Anyone in this country.
Where is that?
On my serving the Bahamian people as a member, their member of parliament for Blue Hills, as well as Tall Pines, PLPO, F&M. Ask any one of them what my tenure was in serving them, the pleasure I had, and the gratitude I showed them, and them putting their faith in me and putting me in parliament. And I always speak for and on behalf of all Bahamians everywhere. I put my record against any former member of parliament, especially you. Because you really, I'm surprised. But anyway, nothing surprised me. You just acted to begin with.
Once again, I'm not going to justify, the language, but I do feel that it is petty season. And Shanique Miller, I'll tell you something. All my life, at least most of my life, the older people have been calling me little boy or boy. This is what they do. This is a part of... It's an unspoken culture, right?
Yes.
Now, I'll tell you when I really got offended. I was walking by Porky's gas station, and the young man said, "Hey, old man." I said, "Now, hold a minute." I said, "Who you calling old man?" But I know I got a little bit of gray hair and everything, but I think we're more offended that you calling me an old man because I always want to feel young.
When they call me young boy.
I think this is a situation, Mr. Leslie Miller, where I would only pray that we can get past this and get back to the people's business. That's what this is really all about. You know there's an enormous amount of pressure in Kalani.
Stop the sideshow.
Stop the distractions. Yeah. Go back to work. Go find a headquarters. You need a headquarters, I heard. Go find your headquarters. We are watching you. And guess what? Beyond the headlines is watching you. We just can't simply wait.
Oh, absolutely. Meanwhile, pressure tall. Meanwhile, what do you think Dr. Minister is doing tonight?
Oh, he likes his drama with his friend, Leslie Miller, and what's going on. I'm almost sure he's chuckling. But I understand that he is campaigning, and like I said, she needs to get on the ground and get campaigning because this election in Kalani, the whole entire nation and the international community, they have their eyes on Kalani. This is where we're going to watch this fight, and the next big place I think is going to be Long Island. This is going to be a great election, folks. Just stay tuned.
Well, I tell you.
On Grand Bahama.
Well, if they don't produce, yeah.
Right, you're absolutely right. Gentlemen, I thank you both. Leslie Miller, you had your say. It's done. We don't have to go there again. I thought, the fact that it's dragged on to today, let you respond to this evening.
And
Garth Rosborough, I thank you as well for being here this evening.
Thank you.
Both of you gentlemen, thank you. Of course, and we will continue to stay on that matter in Grand Bahama because we want to see Grand Bahama be as prosperous and happening as Eleuthera, as any other place in the Bahamas. And so we can hold you all accountable for what it is you all say you all want to do. That's right, in Grand Bahama. So let's get it done. I want to say a big thank you to all of you for tuning in this evening. Certainly enjoyed having you along, and I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.